Hi, welcome to the AcousticVids.com podcast. I am your host, Melanie Dienga, and I am so pleased to welcome with us today Boston's own Juliet Lloyd. And you are going to really enjoy this. She is a fantastic artist and a really interesting person. So, can you start us off with a song?
Sure, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll start with the title track off my new album.
Excellent.
You think you understand the world at 17. You think there's nothing standing in your way but time. Something happens in the minutes in between. Suddenly you've got to learn about goodbye. Though it can bring you to your knees to let somebody go. You hold on just a little bit tighter. Don't ever let them out of your mind. For those who are here and those who are gone, every day and every night, you leave the light on, leave the light on, leave the light on. Even though you sometimes feel your heart might break, part of growing up is going it alone. So hold your breath and watch them make their own mistakes. Lie awake and pray they'll make it safely home. But it can bring you to your knees. You've got to let them go. Hold on just a little bit tighter. Don't ever let them out of your mind. For those that you have and those that you lost, every day and every night. Hold on just a little bit tighter. Don't ever let them out of your mind. For those that you have and those that you lost, every day and every night, you leave the light on, leave the light on, leave the light
Wow, that was so beautiful. I'm going to get all teary-eyed. So, actually, since you started off with that song,
Sure,
I had a question about that song, so we'll kind of skip ahead to that part. That's
Sure.
awesome. So, that song is really super touching, and I had seen a lot of people post on, like, message boards on your MySpace and stuff that they, that it spoke to them about the war, that they had people that were got in the war, and I know that it has just a personal meaning for you, so could you just explain a little bit about where that song came from and what that means to you?
Sure, yeah. It was actually inspired by the town that I do some part-time work playing the piano in, has experienced a lot of loss of youngsters in the community, through car accidents or suicides and stuff like that. And it just really kind of hit me. I lost a friend when I was 17 too, so kind of the whole, losing a friend and, where do you go from there, and having the community kind of rally around each other and pick each other up and really like holding on to the ones that they have left. So that's kind of what that one was about.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think it really, I think when people write about things that are really personal to them, then it can touch people in a really personal way too, so that's awesome.
Thanks.
So I want to start out by just naming off a few of your many accomplishments so people kind of like know who they're dealing with here. But you were recently named WBZ-TV's Boston's Best Female Vocalist on their A-List Awards. You won the 2005 Berkeley Songwriting Competition for your song Lullaby, which is also featured in the independent movie Kathleen. For the very first song you ever wrote, you won an honorable mention in the 2004 Billboard World Songwriting Competition.
Yep.
and that song was Before Me, if people want to look that up. In the semifinals of the Acoustic Live competition here in LA, invited to be a part of the prestigious New York Songwriter Circle. So that's awesome. But the accomplishment that I actually want you to talk a little bit about, because it was the one that I found to be kind of the most just interesting and kind of a dichotomy, was 2003 Amateur Night at the Apollo Theater in Harlem, which is just, if people haven't seen it, they have a show on Saturday night, Showtime at the Apollo, where they kind of televise the amateur night, and people know that like it's notoriously tough, and they will boo you off the stage if they don't like you, and it's, I mean, you can't always tell. It doesn't always go along with people that you would say are just like, oh, you know, they're not good, so they're going to get booed. Like, sometimes the crowd can just turn on you. You don't know going in.
Yeah.
But you got a standing ovation.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little rough when I first walked out, you know, because I definitely got the boos when I walked out on stage, and I was doing, I did Boo Cantrell's Hit 'Em Up Style.
Oh, that's
like
a great
hip-hop.
song!
Yeah, it was like, you know, a summer hit from, you know, 5 years ago or whatever, and I walked out, and I think they were totally not expecting me to break out with that, and I did, and they liked it, yeah.
That's
I'm
awesome.
just glad. Yeah, if I had gotten booed off that stage, my mother was in the audience, and she was horrified.
She would have had to have a talk to some people. Like, that's my baby.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about a kind of interesting thing that I read about you, which was that you graduated with honors from the University of Rochester with a degree in economics, and then were accepted to several law schools, including Cornell, and then you kind of had a moment of epiphany when you went there, where that kind of changed the course of your whole life. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I actually was, I was accepted to Cornell, and I was taking a tour of the campus, and I, went into the law library, and I just saw all the books and all the people studying, and it just didn't feel right at all. It wasn't what I wanted to spend the next 3 years, let alone, the rest of my life doing. So I kind of thought, I've always done music as a hobby, and I might as well try to make a go of it, while I can. So
well, you've done a pretty good job of making a go of it. And then, as all people who do music as a hobby and decide to kind of make a go of it are able to do, you were accepted to the prestigious Berklee Conservatory in Boston. And I mean that obviously completely sarcastically, because hardly anybody is able to do that. So what was behind your decision to apply to Berklee, to choose Berklee, to kind of take that route of getting a formal music education?
I went to a songwriting clinic that they had done. They do these kind of summer programs. And I had done like a weekend summer program in songwriting, and it's such a great place. You get such a great vibe there, the faculty and the classes and the people that you meet, just the networking opportunities are fantastic there. So really it felt like a good fit.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So singer-songwriters, a lot of times, a singer-songwriter will be a guitar person, or sometimes they'll be a piano person, or sometimes, if they get really crazy, sometimes they might throw the drums in there, but you actually play another instrument that is not your typical singer-songwriter instrument, which you play the trumpet.
Yeah, I do play the trumpet. Not so much anymore, but I'll pull it out whenever I need to. Yeah.
But you played trumpet on your first CD, right?
Yeah, and a little bit on the second one. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I don't have to hire a horn player. I can kind of dust it off a little bit, and practice a couple days and get the chops back up there. But yeah, it's fun.
That's awesome. Is that, I had read that your parents are both musicians. Is that something that you got from one or both of them?
My dad was a trumpet player, all through high school and everything. And he actually put it down for a long time, and then when I was in elementary school, he picked it back up, and then he still plays, today. So.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
So you have also a part-time gig, which I thought was great because I can kind of relate to, because I was a teacher for 5 years, which is you're a music teacher in elementary schools.
Yeah, I'm an accompanist. I play the piano in the schools.
So I know that I had read where the kids at first did not know that you were an artist, and then they kind of heard your CD, and then some of them had put up a fan site for you, which is
it's
kind of awesome. So what is that? I mean, that's a real, even though they're both about music, that's a really, really sort of different experience, going out and playing a gig and being an artist, and then kind of teaching kids about music as well. So what do you feel like is different or the same about that?
Well, most mornings I have to get up pretty early, which is kind of a bummer. Yeah, I usually have to be up and at work at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, which is rough. If you've had a long night at a gig, it's kind of hard to pull yourself out of bed in the morning. But yeah, it's great. I mean, I love being around the kids and being able to inspire them more than anything. And so many of them have so many questions for me, and it's so fun to be able to encourage them and say, when I was your age, I had no idea that this is what I wanted to do. I didn't even know that this was an option, And so it's nice to be able to show them, look, you can do something like this if you really want to.
That's awesome. There was, I felt at any rate, a definite progression from your first CD, All Dressed Up, which had a very strong kind of jazz influenced vibe, to then your next CD, Leave the Light On, which was a lot more kind of pop rock, you might say radio friendly. So what was the impetus behind that movement or progression?
Well, when the first one came out, I had never really intended to write a jazz album. I just sort of wrote what I wrote, and then when it came out, everyone's like, oh, she's the next Norah Jones, and it's really jazzy. And I was really surprised, I never thought that that's how you could categorize my music. And going back, I think I now that I have some perspective, I can sort of see why people would say that, see some of the jazzier tendencies. But as much as I liked, some of the doors that were opened by being labeled jazz, I got to do a lot of cool festivals and I got some good radio airplay and stuff. When it came to getting into more rock clubs and stuff like that, some people were like, no, she's a jazz artist, let's pass. So I really wanted it to be, the second album to be more mainstream, more pop, to be able to get onto, more mainstream audiences and stuff like that.
Right.
So, yeah.
A little wider exposure.
Yeah.
And you have really been kind of like a one-man band when it comes to, I mean that kind of metaphorically as well as playing all the instruments, but as far as managing your own MySpace, managing your own, booking gigs and all that kind of stuff. Is that something that, I mean, it's great that we live in a climate, I think, where with the internet you really can just create a career out of thin air. You don't really need label support to be able to make a living at music, but is that something that you're, is that something that you do by choice, or would you like to have a progression into more of a label-supported career?
I would. Maybe not necessarily a label, but, whoever can help me, a manager, a booking agent, whatever.
Right.
Because it's, you're pulled in a million directions all the time, and I always feel guilty, if I'm working on songwriting, then I'm like, oh, I should be booking gigs. If I'm booking gigs, I'm like, oh, I really should be writing songs. It's always I should be doing something else. So, yeah, I mean, it's a little frustrating sometimes, but, at the same time, it's nice to have that much control over everything.
That's true. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, so I don't know if somebody else was calling the shots, if I would be entirely comfortable with that. So,
So the last part of the interview is a part that's kind of fun, and it's 10 questions that I ask the same 10 questions to all of the artists that are interviewed. Okay. So the first one is, who is the last number on your dialed calls list?
I think it's probably you. I think it is
you. Who was your first crush?
What's the name of the guy from the Goonies? Brant, the older brother.
You're like the older man.
The older brother, whatever his name is, Josh Brolin or whatever. Yeah. I wrote him when I was in kindergarten. I wrote him a fan letter, and he never wrote back, and I was crushed.
And now it's sweet revenge because you're a way bigger star than he is. Just kidding, Josh. What's your favorite restaurant?
I have a lot of favorites. I love to eat, so I have a lot of favorites. There's a restaurant in Boston, or just outside Boston, called Blue Ginger. It's sort of like an Asian fusion kind of mix. Ming Tsai, he's one of the celebrity chefs. It's his restaurant, and I love it. Wow. Yeah.
That sounds really good. What is your favorite website? And MySpace doesn't count.
Oh, my favorite website. I have a lot of favorite websites. I love acousticvids.com though.
Oh,
to give you a fun, I literally have spent whole afternoons watching videos of people, and I look up and I'm like, oh my gosh, this has been 4 hours. So yeah, it's acousticvids.com.
That's exactly what it's for.
Good.
That's so great. Oh, yay. What is the last movie that you saw?
Last movie that I saw, probably Ratatouille.
Oh,
it was so cute. I know, I love it.
That's so awesome. Let's see. What book are you reading right now?
I just started the first Harry Potter. I'm way behind the curve on the whole Harry Potter thing.
You're reading them for the first time?
Yeah, and
oh
I've
my
never
god,
seen
give me
any of
5.
them.
I'm
I know.
really jealous of you experiencing them for the first
I
time. They're
know.
so good.
I was reading, I got through probably about half of it on the plane last night. And you know, it's funny because the movie on the plane last night was whatever the recent movie was, and I was like, no, I don't want to see it, because I didn't want to see the movies until I read the books, so I finally started the books, so.
Oh my god, they're so good.
Yeah.
And if you have a chance to listen to them on CD ever, the guy that reads them, the British versions on CD, is Jim Dale, which I don't know if you've heard of him. I don't know if you've seen Pete's Dragon. Okay, so he plays like a kind of memorable character out of there, but he does an awesome job of reading them on CD. What CD is in the player in your car right now?
Actually, I think Sarah Bareilles' new CD is in there. Yeah, I love her.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Did the tour that she just did with Raining Jane and John McLaughlin on
Yeah,
it?
I love John McLaughlin too. Yeah. It's so awesome to see, piano players, pop piano players, because, there's not that many of us.
No, there's
and
not.
it's so cool to see, a couple getting out there. And
that's so great. Oh my gosh, she's awesome. You should check out Raining Jane too. They're really kick-ass. Okay, what kind of iPod do you have? I
have one of the plain old non-video. I've had it for a couple of years. It's like either the 20 gig or something like that with no video. White. It does the job. I'm jealous though. I'm jealous of the video ones. I need to upgrade.
I want a video iPod really badly. And now even the little nanos are video. Everyone's out of me. What was your first job?
I was a swim instructor at like the town rec program. Yeah, I was a swimming teacher there.
That's a really cool first job.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Did you ever have to save anybody?
No.
Oh, denied.
No, I know. It was in a lake. It was in this lake that was supposed to be like Sandy Bottom Lake, but it was like all seaweed and it was gross.
So people didn't really go in?
No. I dreaded it.
What would you be doing right now if you were not a musician?
I probably wouldn't be a lawyer. Hopefully something, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I like. I like doing, one of the things that I like doing with my current job is the whole PR aspect of it. So I would like to maybe, be doing something in that, maybe not necessarily in the music business, but maybe doing PR for something.
Cool. So if this is kind of the first that they're finding out about you and they're like, wow, I really like her, how can I get into your music, how can I find out more, what can they do? They
can check out my website, which is juliet.lloyd.com. I've got a MySpace, I've got, what else? I'm on iTunes, finally. The old album has been out for a couple of years. The new album just got added at the beginning of this month, so you can get both my albums on iTunes, which is awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's great to have, all the digital stuff. What else? Yeah, there's a bunch of videos on YouTube, and of course you can check me out on acousticbiz.com. Lots of videos, yeah.
Oh. So can you play us out?
Sure, yeah.
Fantastic.
I'll do Drive Away, which was inspired by my last trip to California when it rained every day. This time it's fires, and last time it was rain. So.
California's sorry.
I packed my bags for paradise, where all the dreamers go.
awesome. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, and you know what? I almost didn't even give you a chance to plug your two California gigs that are coming up, which was kind of one of the whole points of this. I can't believe that. But anyway, so you're going to be playing at Karma Coffee House coming up and Room 5. So did you want to give out the details of those?
Sure, yeah. Karma Coffee House is Karma Coffee House is Saturday, October 27th. At 8 o'clock, and it's part of the Don't Call Us Tori showcase, so there's a lot of great female singer-songwriters. And then Monday night, October 29th, I'll be at Room 5 with Ernie Halter and Gabriel Mann and Jay Nash, who are all amazing. So. Yeah, and I think that starts at 8 or 8:30.
And that actually is going to be a singer-songwriter in the round format, which I think that format is so cool. So that one especially. I think it's only like for $6 you just get this amazing night of music. And for people who aren't familiar with what singer-songwriter in the round is, it's kind of like each person takes a turn and then people end up sort of like picking up with the other people's songs and harmonizing, and just ends up being like a really, really cool sort of once like moment in time kind of experience of singer-songwriters singing together. So definitely if you're in LA, make it out to that if you at all can. It's going to be awesome. So Juliet, you're so kick-ass. I'm so glad you were on my show.
Me too. Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
No problem.